Well, hey guys, back today on the bench, I have these H-World anti-fog goggles, and this will be a follow-up video. I done a video on these a while back because after I bought them, I realized when you push the button, even though the fan comes on, sometimes they have a bad connection. And if any connection is lost on the battery terminals itself, the fan cuts off. Hope you can see that on camera. It'll cut right back on. But the problem is they start fogging up before you realize it sometimes. So the push button control has the high and low and back to off. And I did a video showing that you can tighten up these terminals on the battery connectors itself. And it helps tremendously. And it really has helped a lot. But still, the least little bit of a bump is going to stop it every time. So I'm going to back up on that last video because I did say if it give any trouble, I was just going to put a switch on it. And this is my son's, and I'm going to change the way this is on his, the way I've already done mine, and mine's actually worked out a lot better. So I tried to do this with a kind of a minimalistic approach here. I kept a lot of stuff that was here, including the little rubber holder. I bought the new dual AAA battery holder. They were cheap enough, even with the built-in switch, that I was going to try these first. So the way I got this, if you can see the fan, it's just going to come on at 100% with 3 volts across it every time. So very, very basic. I basically just took it and soldered it into the new battery pack and did it as so. And just slid it into the spot where this one was. As you take the original H-World battery holder off, I just simply used this and stuck it in there. So, and I cut the tabs off on mine. You don't have to, but I chose to do so. So what made me come up with this was in our last Airsoft game, taking my son to a field close by. Well, a field about an hour away from the house. Another young guy that was saying that his had fogged up. He said, man, mine fogged up. My goggles keep cutting off. And I think these goggles are real prone to that issue. So this is one very simple fix and a cheap fix at that. Just takes a little bit of time. The other option, I bought some of these JST connectors. This is the same type connector that comes with some like cheaper Airsoft guns or the 7.2 volt batteries and things. So I keep a lot of these little connectors. They're handy. I even thought about buying a battery holder that doesn't even have a switch. You don't have to worry about a cheap switch messing up either, right? Just solder this in and you just actually connect it up when you go on the field, So it's a lot of options out there to make it, as robust and as easy, as simple, less problematic as possible. Because lo and behold, the way this thing's designed with the loose connection, even the Energizer Bunny is not going to help you keep going, you know what I mean? I was just going to show how I did mine using this one. So the first thing I done is I chose to soak my battery holder in alcohol so I could get the hot glue to release. So after this soaks in alcohol, I'll even be able to get the embedded hot glue out. So this is just a little bath of alcohol that I have here. I'm going to let this sit here for about 30 minutes or so and I'll come back. So to do this job today, I'm going to use a high percentage alcohol to get the hot glue off of the board because I'm going to remove the board. Now you may choose not to do so. You might just want to take some wire snips and just snip the wires right off because we're either going to solder or connect them in some way to this new battery holder. So this step doesn't have to be done, but I just wanted to mention if you did want to do some testing, you would want to do that and get it out. And what I did on this board of mine was I got it out. And even though I got the hot glue out, unfortunately they did glue the board into the holder. So I did have to break the board out of this side. It was super glued in, I believe. But what that enabled me to do was to do some tests on it. And on high, it was putting out real close to full battery voltage. And I was reading somewhere around 320 hertz. So it's like a PWM or a duty cycle that is doing a pulse width modulation. And it was doing about 60 hertz on low. But the unusual thing is it was about 100 milliamps on high and about 88 milliamps on low, so it wasn't a big savings on low, honestly. So the low was really not a great feature to me. So I'm actually glad that I'm going to make it where it's putting out full 100% 3 volts or whatever the battery voltage dies down to. So with roughly 3 volts, because my batteries wasn't fully charged, they wasn't real fresh. So about 3 volts on it when I was doing my test. So I would keep them all the same during the test, and I was right at 100 milliamps with the 3 volts across it, straight across it with the switch. So it's not a huge loss as far as efficiency. It might actually be better. You're not losing any efficiency on the transistor switching. So the other benefit to this, besides the obvious not fogging hopefully and not cutting off on you, the other benefit is you'll be able to use these batteries down as low as the fan will run. So this board at around 1 volt per battery, sometimes it would just cut off. You know, you could cut it back on, it run a little while, but it was just the battery voltage itself was a cutout, and we're going to eliminate that. We're going to have whatever, if it's down to 0.5 volts per cell, it's at least going to try to run it as long as we can. So I'm really happy about that. So I've been letting this soak a little while. I'm actually going to dry this off a little bit, and we'll be back to get the hot glue out of it. The alcohol just helps this hot glue release so easily. You can usually just pull it right out. The board, not so much. The problematic connectors there in this battery holder. Yeah, it still had to break the board off. You can see that. And again, not necessary unless you're actually wanting to test the board out. So I just wanted to show that. I'm going to bring over my soldering iron and just wipe these connectors off. You can cut them and just restrip them if you would like to do so. I'm going to go ahead and put several pieces of heat shrink on here. Put a couple this direction, so I'll have them later if I need them. So the other tools we need for this is just some wire strippers and a way to connect our wires. I'm going to solder mine. I do a lot of electronics work, so I'm going to solder mine. But you can also connect in many ways. The choice is yours. So I am going to choose to route my wire just a little bit different before I hook it back up. I think I want it to go around the inside instead of the outside like it was. And you could actually cut some of this length off if you would like, and you could leave these a little bit longer. It really doesn't matter. So I'm going to choose to bring over some flux. And of course, this is just simply going to be red to red and black to black, so you can't really mess it up. Just keep your colors the same. A little bit of flux. Got the red just like that. Now for the black. I probably have enough solder still on the tip here. And there we go. That flux just helps it draw right on in. Now I really like a good solder connection. You may choose to do some other kind of connector, but this is the one that I chose to use. Got a hot air gun here. We'll get our heat shrink and shrink it on down. You can use push terminals, or you can even use connectors like this if you would like. If you don't have heat shrink, you could tape it. I just like to heat shrink my wires, and it don't unravel like tape and then get all sticky. It's a lot neater. So I choose to put 2 layers on mine. And there we go. Just that easy. This can slide in like so. And you can attach this with Velcro or however you would like, even tie wraps, but you still want to be able to change your batteries out fairly easily, so I kind of like this. I was either going to get some black O-rings or just use the rubber bracket that come with it. So you can leave the tabs, or like I say, you can cut them off like I did on mine. So, and there we go. That should be our easy solution to get the maximum life out of our batteries, as well as solve our fogging issue by the fan cutting off on us. So I hope you found this video today to be helpful. If you did, please like, share, subscribe, and thanks for watching. So in the description of the video below, I'll have a link to the battery holders, the connectors in case you're interested in those, as well as some things I like to use on my bench, like my soldering iron, my hot air station. So any of those links you click on will help support the channel, so I do appreciate that.